So we're midway through the respective series, 2-2 for Celtics and Philly, and then 2-1 in Miami's favor against New York. And so our job is to now, I guess, project forward at the midway point of the series. So we'll start with the Celtics and Sixers. What an interesting series. So, originally, is Joel Embiid going to come back? Doesn't play game one. James Harden has a very James Harden-esque game. And, we're looking at the series a bit differently. Then Celtics thump them in game two. Joel Embiid comes back, surprisingly, but not really the headline there. It's the fact that they lose. Game three, Philly kind of lets it slip away a little bit, and then Celtics, close it out. And then game four today, very exciting. Poor execution down the stretch for the Celtics at regulation, and then they go to OT, and James Harden does a game one performance. And this is a hard series. I think we both picked the Celtics quite handily, even with Joel Embiid's status being a bit, up in the air. And he's back. But the one thing there that was probably predicted was the fact that James Harden would, for at least half the games, be the Houston James Harden. Um, I don't know about you, and I guess we'll unpack this a little bit. The Celtics, despite the fact that they're trying to return to the finals, have a very good path to do so. There's just something about them where they don't organize themselves. What I mean by that is Golden State, first round against Sacramento, there's that championship experience where we expect them, they'll figure it out. With the Celtics, they shouldn't be acting like that. But they do. They act like, oh, we'll figure it out. We'll give away this game. We'll come back next time. We'll sort it out then. But they shouldn't be doing that because they haven't actually won anything and they still have things to prove. I'll get a pick out because I feel like I haven't yet. I've just set up a lot of exposition. I'm going to stick with the Celtics. They have the home court over the next three games. I feel like they should be able to close it out, and Harden's a bit inconsistent. But yeah, Celtics and six, but not a convincing six. And I'll stop talking
I, I will I actually pick Celtics too, I think, and I'm gonna stick with the Celtics. But I must say though, if I was a Celtics fan right now, I would really like to be up 3-1 versus being 2-2. Obviously, coming back to Boston now for game five doesn't hurt that they've got two more games at home here. But the two games they dropped where Harden went off 45 and 42 points, and effectively was only really a basket in it. They would have, Celtics would have loved to have picked up one of those games because now they're in a tied situation, three games to play, and Embiid rounding into form. Embiid rounding into form. That first game when obviously Harden went off, that was a really unexpected to an extent. And it was a game that Boston played. If they could have it back, they would have loved to have grabbed that one when Embiid was obviously sitting and Philly was clearly not at full strength. I don't know. This is a dangerous matchup here. Look, we could unpack it for many more minutes, but I guess it's at the end of the day, maybe one thing we overlooked here, if the Sixers get this done, is that now with Embiid obviously winning his first MVP, they've got two MVPs on this team. And I guess that's a resume that, is one of its success. And, they can get the job done. And that, Boston have to be wary. And yeah, look, they got to grab game five. I'd hate to go to Philly down 3-2 and Philly now have a chance to close out at home. I think that would be a disaster for Celtics.
So the second matchup in the East, which is currently a 2-1 in Miami's favor, also another interesting series in terms of players sitting out or games not going the way that we expect them. Jimmy Butler goes into game one and just dominates really and takes the game from the Knicks, but hurts his ankle and then sits out game two. And Miami was still very competitive in that game, which was surprising. I don't know about you, but I feel like we are building a narrative of Jimmy Butler dragging the Heat to wherever they end up going. But they held their own. They actually played very well, and they were definitely within taking game two as well. They come back to Miami and they just destroy them. And Julius Randle, obviously dealing with the ankle injuries, struggling a bit. And you and I both agreed that it's kind of the alpha off between Jalen Brunson and Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler is currently winning that. And I think the supporting cast, I think, the structure of the team, the way that they're playing, Miami are clicking at the right time. And there's something to be said for that. And New York may be falling apart a little bit. Mitchell Robinson's definitely not having the same impact that he did against the Cavs. and that's probably more of an indictment against the Cavs than it is a praise for Mitchell Robertson. So I originally picked Miami in 7. I thought this would have went back and forth, but considering that Miami is approaching Game 4 with the ability to take a 3-1 lead in New York, I'm going to say that Miami now downgrade or upgrade, depending on how you look at it, to a 4-2 series win. So they'll win it in 6 now. I think New York will
Six.
take Game 5 at home, but I think Miami's going to win the next 2 at home. I think they did what they needed for the home court flip, and they're going to maintain that.
I think Randall has been a non-factor here really for Knicks. I think it's a disappointing. He rolled his ankle obviously in the first round, and I don't think he's 100%. He's not really having the impact that he's had in the regular season, and that's been a big loss for the Knicks here. And Jimmy Butler's, as we already talked about, a fair few takes here that he's going off, and he continues to go off here in the second round, and they don't have a matchup to stop him. I watched a few clips here where, is it Josh Hart was trying to guard him, and some of these smaller guards on the Knicks were trying to guard him. And he's just too shifty. He's just got too many things up his sleeve that he can sort of either, take you to the basket, go left, go right, shake you on those sort of moves and just hit that mid-range. Now he's obviously shooting the 3 and making it at a reasonably, good rate in the playoffs too. He stretches you out all the way to the 3-point line, and then he draws fouls and he knocks them down too. So how do you stop a play like that? That's the craziness of it. I think he's averaging about 35 points, I think, at the moment in the playoffs or something like that. So it's like, Knicks are in trouble, I think, and I think I'd pick the Heat in 6, and I'm gonna stick with that obviously, but it could easily be done in 5, maybe in 6 still, obviously.
This is two guys with spare time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.